Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today. Actually, just me today, and probably going forward. I'm not sure. Our friend Andrea is she's working on a few other things, so it'll probably just be me for now on. But she knows she's always welcome to come back when she feels the desire to. So anyway, thank you. Interesting topic today, brought to us actually by a friend of the show, Jim. So thank you out there, Jim, and hope you're feeling better, brother, or at least soon. And the topic today is acceptance and how important that is going forward during this journey. Because anything that is not of acceptance um, is definitely taking us out of alignment. Now, when I say acceptance, I don't mean obviously if you're trying to grow, you are trying to better yourself, so you're not accepting where you are right now. Obviously, that's you're accepting the fact that you need to grow. That's important here. So I don't want to misunderstand anybody or put out misnomenctures or whatever you call it. Anyway, so but there you're accepting the fact that hey, it takes work to get to where we're going. But the acceptance that I want to talk about is in a few different areas, and particularly surrounding other people, because acceptance of other people, other things that we can't control, that's really the topic of what I want to get into today. Because that is an extremely important topic and one that I know many people have some issues with. So, with that in mind, we'll start with acceptance of relationships, acceptance in relationships. And anytime we're dealing with other people, we can't control how they think, what they do, how they act. There's nothing that we control that is outside anything that any we cannot control anything outside of us. So if you're in a relationship and there are some aspects of the relationship that aren't necessarily something that you like, you really have to sit back and ask yourself, is that something that I'm willing to accept or not? And obviously any type of abuse, I would encourage you not to be accepting of that, and I would get out of that relationship. However, there are some aspects. For instance, one is if the relationship is going to end because your spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend are choosing to go in other directions, that's not something that you can control. You can't control that. So you have to begin at that time then to learn to accept different aspects of the relationship ending. And sure, you can maybe try to change certain things if you really want the relationship to work. You can try to change different aspects about yourself or whatever caused the relationship to go in a different direction. You can attempt to change that. And if they're willing to give you a shot there, well, hopefully it all works out and you guys can get back together. However, there are situations where the relationship just isn't meant to reconnect and you have to move on. In those relationships, you have to be accepting of the idea and notion that it's ending, and we have to find lessons that we can take from the relationship moving forward, because hopefully as a result of that ending you can learn these lessons that are meant to be learned, and then go forward into the next relationship and excuse me, and be one with it, be one with your growth, and grow from it, and then hopefully your next relationship is turns out to be much different, and you are a better co partner in that relationship. Now, we can never force anybody back to us, and that is always something we want to be aware of, and we don't want to sit there and go through your mourning period of the relationship ending for sure, but also understand that we do have to move on. Allow yourself to mourn, allow yourself to be in that moment of sadness of it ending if you really are sad, but then if excuse me, once that passes, move on, and do not be afraid to open up your heart again. if you come out of the relationship and you're saying to yourself, "Oh, I'm never going to open up again because I don't want to be rejected like that, or I don't want to fear, I don't, I want, I'm fearing getting hurt again." Well, you're doing a disservice to yourself, because the whole idea here is to love in spite of that possibility of rejection. And if you are more focused on the potential hurt of another relationship, then you are not learning the lesson. And you're missing the bigger picture here, because the bigger picture is somebody needs your love and wants your love out there. And if you're not willing to subject yourself to the potential of getting hurt, or subjecting yourself to a greater love, then you might be missing out on something that could be more powerful than you ever thought of. That last relationship that you were coming out of might have been a good one up until the end, or at least you thought. But if you allow yourself to dwell on that negativity and those aspects um, that are not healing, then you are going to hurt yourself. You're not going to open up again, and that's unfortunate. So learn the lessons, open back up, allow your heart to feel love from another in spite of getting rejected or being hurt in another relationship, because it's important. It's important for your own heart, and it's important for the next relationship as well. So just continue to proceed in a loving manner, in a loving direction, and know that your love and what you are capable of is very important to this world, to your next relationship, to society, because we have said it multiple times that when you heal yourself, you begin to heal the world. You send healing, uh, you send healing energy out into the world that affects not only the people around you, but this planetary realm. That's extremely important to be aware of, for sure. The next one is aspects of the government. And here's one. And this is an important one when it comes to government. We all have different opinions, and trust me, I'm no different than you guys. I get frustrated when people don't think the way that I do sometimes, and when that happens, am very aware of it, and I really try to regroup, step back, and look at the bigger picture. We are on different rungs of this ascension path, so you have someone that's here, somebody that's here. We're thinking differently. We can't get caught up in those differences. As I said in the last podcast, we have got to find the similarities in our belief systems, knowing that we are coming from good places. Now, with that being said, our government is run by low vibrational people. I won't say 100% of them are low vibrational, but I'm going to say a lot of them, most of them are. Low vibration in the sense that they are not on that they're not on that ascension path yet. Their souls are still growing. And that's not good or bad. It's just where they are in the path. They might be back here. That's okay. However, you want to watch out how much you actually follow these people or consider them leaders, because if you follow low vibrational people, or people that are on this, or not necessarily on that ascension path yet, and aren't necessarily aware of the divinity that lives within them, well, you're leaving yourself open to um, a lot of hurt and pain, because these people don't necessarily care about us. Definitely something to be aware of when it comes to the government. Now, I'm not saying go out there and be like disruptive or don't follow rules. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is just be careful about how much you follow them, how much you allow them to influence your life from a belief system, from a perspective of like leaning on them to take care of you, because it's the government and they're low vibrational, and they are not necessarily in line with really caring about you. So something to be aware of. Now, from an acceptance point of view, what we need to accept is the fact that we're not changing our government. So we cannot continue to get frustrated and angry at the idea and notion that our government is doing things we may or may not like. We have to be accepting of it, because we just don't we're not in that system, and we don't have that power enough to change. Not unless we were all get together. I mean, we really do have the power as people. We really do have the power to change everything if we really wanted to, but that would require all of us, or a lot of us primarily, to get on the same page and start this grassroots movement of like getting together and saying, hey, we're taking our power back, and we refuse to allow the government to mandate certain things. Like, we really do have that power, but unfortunately, we are so focused on our differences that and the government wants that too. The government wants us to be focused on our differences so that we don't come together and really take that power back. It's like the divide and conquer. And I don't mean to get political on you guys. Please forgive me. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. It doesn't matter. I mean, believe whatever you want. You have every right, and quite frankly, I don't really care what you believe in. I don't care what I believe in. It's just, it is what it is. I'm just saying that we can't sit there and get mad at things, because what's that going to do? So we have to be in acceptance of it. And unless you're called to change something, I encourage you to follow that. But ultimately, we don't have that power right now, or we do, but we're not together enough to actually take back that power. So something to be aware of. So we almost have to. You can't go wake up every day and just sit there and get frustrated at the fact that whatever, you can't go to a beach, or you can't go to a park, or maybe you can and maybe you can't. I'm just saying, you can't sit there and get frustrated at things and live your life in that low vibrational state. You have to find something to be grateful for. You have to accept certain things for what they are, because if you don't have the ability to change it, or you're not being called to change it, then there's no point in allowing yourself to suffer like that. And therefore, you have to find this accepting mentality. With that being said, the coronavirus is an aspect of acceptance that we have to live with. So we already know some details about the coronavirus, and some things that we have to accept are the fact that it's probably never going away. We're going to have to deal with it forever, probably. I mean, it's basically like a flu, in the sense that it's a virus that's spread through people. It's like fighting an idea. How do you get rid of an idea? You don't. You have to accept it. Now, with that being said, we've already channeled messages from God that have indicated we must understand that God is present in every situation, including our government. So our government and including the coronavirus. So our government is doing things. We know God's present there, and Corona's doing things. We know he's present there, or she's present. We know all these spiritual beings are very present in all of these topics. However, there is nothing that happens is by accident, if you will. Everything was known prior to it happening as being a potential happening. Excuse me. And with that being said, we know that the fact that it is a known item, we have to accept the fact that God is present with all these spiritual light beings, is present and working on things. So if we sit there and get it caught up in the negativity of our government, the negativity of this coronavirus and these thought processes that are low in vibration, then we are losing sight of the fact that God's here. He's present and he carries love, obviously, and there is no power greater than love. And if you sit in this low vibrational state, you are only hurting yourself. And you're not helping the world, which we need. We need you guys as light beings, light workers, as messengers, as people that are on this ascension process to be the best version of you can, to live your life in a mindset that is positive as best you can. So just simply be aware of these aspects that are these thoughts, these actions that are low in vibration, and don't necessarily stay there. Obviously, if the thought comes up, you have it, you might even react to it for a minute or two, but notice it and then bring it back, dial it back, and then be of acceptance of the fact that, okay, God's here, He has something that He's working on. And I trust that and I accept that fact. And I'm going to be the best person that I can until I see what is supposed to come of this. Because there's presence, God's presence in everything and every situation, every person. We all know it's all energy and God handles it all or is in every situation. Extremely beautiful ways to think about things when you are kind of like lost in the idea of what the heck is going on here. Why are things going on the way in a way that I do not approve of? Because if you are in that mindset, which I find myself in quite often, especially now with the way that our government is, with the way that this coronavirus is being handled, I find myself there a lot. However, if I stay there, I'm only hurting myself, and I am not being accepting of the fact that, okay, there is a bigger picture here. There is a bigger purpose. There's a bigger reason as to why all of this is going on. And just because I don't know or see those answers at the moment doesn't mean that they're not there. And I'm not being trusting enough of God and the love that they carry with them, the light workers, the light beings, from beyond. I'm not trusting in them if I'm sitting there in this low vibrational state, questioning everything that's going on. I have to believe wholeheartedly, fully, that God's presence is here and there is something bigger going on that is beneficial for us. And hopefully you guys can find some peace in what we're talking about at the moment, because there's a lot that's going on right now that is so fractured and splitting so many of us in different directions and different mindsets and thought processes. And it's it's not good if we continue to look at those differences, as we have pointed out now in 2 straight podcasts. That is definitely a message that they are pushing, is to not is to focus on our similarities and what brings us together rather than those differences. So hopefully you guys can begin to focus on that as well and find some peace there. And in addition to the aspect of God that is in all of these situations and trusting in their ability to figure things out. Now, with that being said, as I have stated earlier, if you feel a calling to do something, then do it, because that is part of this whole process, is to be aware of these feelings that we have, be aware of these callings that we are being called upon, because your energy, your pre-birth plan is important to not only who you are, but to this planetary realm and to the ascension process of so many. And if you don't embrace that aspect of you, then it's unfortunate, because the world is not getting the best version of you. So pay attention to those feelings, pay attention to those callings, and act on them. Obviously, in an according way, of course. That's what I'm talking about. Be of love, be of service to others. Those are the callings that I'm talking about. I'm not saying hurt anybody or nothing like that. So please understand what I'm talking about there. Be of peace, be of service to others, be of light. And if you feel that calling to help others and to make changes that you are capable of making, then by all means go do that and be of love. So thank you. I just need to make that very clear. Now, another aspect of acceptance that I know many of us struggle with is death. And as we stated earlier in this podcast and then in others, um, and just a few seconds ago, death is something that is inevitable. You can't deny it. You can't. Birth and death. We can't control it. We can't deny it. So we have to find acceptance in it. And God has already stated several times He is present in every passing. There is never a passing that He is not or she is not, that energy is not present at and working at that moment with that passing, with that spirit, with that soul. It is something to be, and if you can take that notion and really just look at that from a distance. So, and I'll give you a for instance here. The hawk is my spirit animal. And one of the messages of the hawk is to look at the bigger picture. Now, I encourage this with everything that I'm talking about or we're talking about here today. But I'm bringing it up now in the aspect of death because if you can take a step back and look at the bigger picture of death and understand that first and foremost, we are souls. When our physical body leaves, we are not dying. Our physical body presence, our physical presence is no longer here, but our soul is absolutely here. And as a medium, I obviously work with these souls. I work with that energy. That energy is still very much present. Now, I'll tell you something. Just last week, I got a message from my cousin who I've spoken about on this podcast channel. Back in December, she passed away. She came in the other day. She gave me a message. Well, when she gave me that message, she indicated to me that she had a message for her brother, which I gave to her. Now, as she was leaving, after she gave me the message, I asked her a couple of questions myself. One of them was, could you show yourself to me? I would really like to see you. Now, obviously, I have my idea of seeing, like, I would want to see a full-blown apparition in front of me. And it was funny because she says, yeah, you can see me. I'll show myself to you. And I graciously thanked her. And that night, as I was sleeping, I had a dream. And in the dream, she appeared out of nowhere, appeared in the dream, gave me a hug, and then left. When I woke up the next morning, I was floored because obviously she did show herself to me. So she kept that promise. The day prior, she said that I could see her. She said she would appear to me, and then that night she comes to me in a dream. I don't dream about my cousin really ever. That's only the second time that I've actually had a dream of her in it. The first one was the first time that she visited me visually. So that is absolute contact. And not only is it contact, but that is the spirit actually. That's like that's what ghost hunters would call like a class A EVP, meaning class A. You ask a direct question, they respond to it directly. So, hey, what is your name? And you get a name. All right, so that's like a class A EVP. What just happened there, where my cousin comes to me, I ask her to see if I could see her, and then that night she appears in a dream. That is no coincidence. Now, my point here though is acceptance. I just had to tell you that because it was an amazing story. But acceptance, the whole point of that story is that the acceptance comes in knowing that death is only the physical body changing and the spirit now being released from that body. But the spirit and the energy of that person is still there, and that is so important to understand. So important. And when you can take a step back and really hold on to that and accept that idea, that notion that death really is, there is no death, there is just a change, then you can really find a greater peace when it comes to that crossing over. Now, if you can learn to work with that energy, which we all can, I teach people how to work with that energy. If you can learn how to work with that energy and communicate with that energy, then you will truly know that you will never lose a person. You never lose them. Yes, you lose that physical aspect of them. Okay, yes. But the energy, the personality, the love is all there and actually almost intensifies, comes to another level. So amazing. And I encourage you all to really learn to work with spirit because it is beyond beautiful. It really is. There is so much love, unconditional love too. So much peace. It's awesome. It really is. But and it will help you find acceptance in that crossing, that transition of losing the physical aspect and going more into the spiritual realm of a soul when the human body passes. It'll just help tremendously with that. The next one we're gonna go with is, I don't even like saying this word, but evil. I'm gonna say it, and I don't mean to like lower the vibrations here, but like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, and I know this is hard for some of us to understand, but evil is an aspect of our creator. It's truth. It Angels fell from heaven, chose to come down and begin to you know, they fell from heaven and they are the ones that are now down there. Now, like our universal laws of energy indicate, there are polarities. There for every good, there is a bad. We know this. There is no masking it. The interesting thing though is that we are all one with it. So we just have to accept that fact that it's a part of life. It is a part of energy. Energy, there is no separation. It is We need to understand this greatly to really find the acceptance in everything that we just spoke about, the relationships, government, corona, death, everything. We are all one. We are all growing. Energy is has those polarities of a high and a low vibration. And once we begin to accept that and not hate evil, we do not hate evil. What we do is we love it because it is an aspect of us. The more you curse it, the more that you get frustrated with it, the more you try to control it, the more you get angry at it, the more you feed it. And if that's what you try to do, you're not helping the good. You are helping the bad, actually. You're hurting the low vibrational aspect of things. You are feeding it rather than love. When you are in acceptance of it, knowing that it is a part of our reality, part of the aspects that we have accepted and agreed upon to be in this realm, you will find a greater peace. Because acceptance is everything when it comes to knowing who you are as an energetic being, as a spiritual being, as a soul who is attempting to live in a human body and having a human experience, knowing full well that low vibrational energetic beings or energy that is low vibrational is a part of this experience. Once you can begin to accept that and be one with it and send love to it and appreciation for what it is really doing for us. It is showing us, it is shining the light so much more brightly. If it weren't for the darkness, the light would not be shown so brightly when we see it. Think about that for a second. Take a step back and think about what we just said there. If you are not in an acceptance of the low vibrations that are here, of that darkness that is prevalent on this in this realm and on this planet, then you are not fully aware of how brightly you can shine as a light being, as a spiritual being, as a person that loves so much, so greatly, so deeply. And without that darkness, I mean, think about it. When you shine a flashlight during the day, you obviously the brightness isn't going very far. Think about it like that. It is only at night that light shines so brightly and can be seen from so far away. That's exactly why we are here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying we're here to change, but are here to be that light, for others that are trying to ascend on the path. It's such an amazing thought. And when you can really begin to align with that thought and understanding of what you truly are, because everyone that pretty much listens to this is probably a light worker or a spiritual being that is aware of their spiritualness within their body. And once you can become one with the understanding that it's not the absence of darkness that what we're looking for. We're just looking for shining the light even more prevalently in that darkness to allow others to see it and then begin to rise so that their souls can use that light to climb, to ascend, because we are so important. People before us were so important for the exact same reason. Our souls were lower in vibration at one point as well. But it was the light of others that we used, that our souls used to begin to grow. It's no different now. And if we are not in an accepting mindset of these truths, then we're not high vibrational. We're not one with these concepts. We're not one with God. We're not in a trusting mindset, which is, it's difficult. And it's going to be a struggle for you if you cannot find the acceptance that is needed to continue this work and to be in a loving state. And you will get there if you can accept these facts that we've discussed here today. And the last one that I would like to, or that we would like to communicate about, is the acceptance of your path. And we kind of touched this a little bit earlier when we said, if you have a calling, follow it. If you feel the tug in a particular direction, go there. There is a reason that you are being called to that location, to that position, to that mindset, whatever that calling is for. Accept the fact that you feel that calling and then go there. Because if you're not accepting of your path, well, one, you're going to have to obviously come back in another lifetime and find a way. Your soul's going to have to find a way to be one with that path, but not to mention the fact that you are missing out on an opportunity to be that light in that darkness, to be the light that people need in the night so that they and their souls can find a way. And think about how beautiful and powerful that is if you can find the acceptance of accepting your path and then allowing your path to take you where you need to go, and to be that light for so many out there that need it. To be that teacher, to be that shining personality, that shining love that somebody out there, wherever you were being called to go to, is so desperately in need of. You could save a life. You could help people in so many different ways. And not only can you help them in a physical aspect, but you're helping their soul. As we just said, if you, our souls learned from other teachers or light beings, light workers from before when our soul was younger. That's no different now. And the acceptance of your path is an important aspect of this. If if you are not accepting of your path, you are allowing an opportunity to go to waste. Now, how do you know what your path is? It comes from the sense of feel. What are you feeling called to do? What are you feeling? Now, this call, right? As we have said before, accept it right now. So when I quit my job, right, I thought I was supposed to start a meditation business. But then I quickly realized that, oh my gosh, that really wasn't my calling. That was just to get me to the next location. That was kind of like that, if you're jumping across a pond on these rocks, that was just the first step that they used above, that guidance that they used to get me to go to the next step, which my next step is going to be helping kids. That is what I'm saying. Trust your feelings. Now, with that, when you are trusting your feelings, be aware of the feeling that you have and the call to it. Okay? So if it's telling you, okay, I have a feeling that I should maybe go to Massachusetts or something like that. Whatever it is, or quit my job and do something else. Allow that feeling to stay with you for a little bit. I'm not saying react to it right away. Sit with it. Sit with it for days, weeks, a month, whatever. Give it time. Okay. Now, the job thing for me, let me see. I could feel a shift coming, I think, back in October, I believe it was. I started to feel this is not what I want to do anymore. I'm not feeling IT anymore. And I think I really need to reposition myself. Well, what I did was I felt that, I noticed that feeling, and then I started to see how things were developing, right? So I didn't make any rash decisions. I sat there, I sat with that feeling, I thought with that mindset, and I just allowed things to progress naturally, right? Well, as I did that, I started to see, okay, I'm seeing this meditation mindfulness. I feel that. I can feel my desire there to do that. And that was in December. And now at this point, I was already teaching meditation and mindfulness, and I have my certification as a teacher and an instructor of meditation and mindfulness. But then in December, I'm like, okay, you know what? There's something here that I need to do. And in January is when I got the feeling, okay, it's time to quit. I can go now. And I did. And then, 2 months later, I started to realize that's not, that was just a step to get me to the next step. And that's exactly what happened. So when I say embrace your path, accept your path, I'm telling you to pay attention to how you're feeling, to know where your path is taking you. And if you are in full acceptance of who you are as a divine being, as a spiritual being, and knowing that your guides and God are there guiding you always, then you can go and trust. Trust knowing that whatever happens, whatever comes of that is only going to make you who you are truly meant to be in this lifetime. And that is how you follow your life's path. That is how you are in the lazy river, allowing your path to close in to you. rather than having all these options and them trying to work through all these options of trying to get you back to the path. When you are just allowing the path to come to you, you are of acceptance of how you're feeling and the tug trying to get you to go in that direction. You are in acceptance of it. You are in acceptance of God's presence, of love's presence, of your spiritual team's presence, your guide's presence, and then you are allowing them to truly guide you to where you're meant to go. Is it easy? No, it isn't. But it is absolutely beautiful when you can find the true acceptance of it, that you will find so much more peace and happiness. I can tell you from experience. I have given up. I have allowed this path to take me so far. And I can tell you there's not one regret. Everything that I thought I was before, I played ice hockey for 35 years. Thought I loved different things. And I won't go into all of it because I don't feel like getting on, coming off as pompous or whatever like that. But when you follow your path, when you are in acceptance of who you are and where you are meant to go, not necessarily knowing where you're supposed to go, but knowing that it's not where you currently are, I will tell you this, you will always find peace. You will always find it. Because even though when you go, it's going to come off as being different or odd. You feel like you're jumping into uncharted territory, or you're jumping into like an ocean of sharks right there around you. And it takes a little bit of time to overcome that fear. But that's okay if you truly believe and truly accept what is happening here. And man, there's so much peace there. There's so much love. And when you can truly let go of that control that we struggle with, because we always want to know, okay, well, what's going to come of this? But that's not part of this. Part of it is not knowing and not controlling and just being and allowing things to happen as they will. That is where the true beauty comes from. That is where you are going to find your lazy river, your path. It is in those moments of not control, of truly accepting the idea and notion that you are a spiritual being that God is present in at every moment and allows your path to truly evolve organically, naturally, with the help of your guides as they move and tug and push you to where you're meant to go. And with that, you will find the peace. You will be so much more happy. You will feel it. You will just feel that peace overcome you because you're being who you're meant to be. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate that. And with it, I am going to take a moment. I am already getting Enoch's presence here, so I will take a moment to allow for his presence to come forward. My children, peaceful we are at this very moment, and grateful for the opportunity to step forward at this time and allow for these loving messages to be presented to you all. For there is much truth that has been spoken here today. With our presence and direct guidance from above, yes, we are here. And have communicated much of these messages through Christopher today, for the connection with him is extremely strong. And your ability, my children, as light beings and light workers, is truly important to this planetary realm and to the ascension process of not only this realm, but to its inhabitants, its humankind. Mother Nature, Mother Earth, as we call her, is also a direct recipient of the opportunities of following your path that are so prevalent on this plane. She reaps much rewards from much of what the humankind does as it begins to heal and follow its true purpose in this lifetime, as Christopher has so indicated with our distinctive help. You, my children, the acceptance that is so desperately needed throughout this realm is an important one, especially during these troubling times. There are many beings on the other side that are working diligently to assist with the humankind to begin to ascend in different ways and understand the true purpose and nature of what is truly transpiring on this plane at this time. For there is much in the sense of discourse that is occurring, and yet we encourage you all to understand that has been indicated. Truth will come when the similarities are focused upon. You, my individuals, similarly, you are as spiritual, loving beings that are experience a human kind of experience is important to understand a very similar acknowledgement of who you are. You, my children, are spiritual beings having a human experience. This is important and a direct similarity between you all, one that mustn't be overlooked, my children, and we encourage you to take a step back, to truly look from above, to see with our eyes the true loving nature that we have for all humankind, regardless of your mindsets, your belief systems, and your path going forward. We experience unconditional love for all humans, and we encourage lightworkers to begin to acknowledge and accept the true nature of your unconditional loving ability that you carry with you all in your heart chakra. This is where the unconditional loving aspect of all of you can be released and held on to so much more tightly. Released, we say, onto this world, but held onto within your heart, noticed, felt. This is where the unconditional love relies, and we encourage you to sink, release into it, to allow for this loving, unconditional love to be stepped forward into this planetary realm so that your light and guidance can be shined upon all humans that are in need currently of the aspects, noticement of who they are, and then begin to ascend. It is your direct, loving, shining light, love, unconditional, that is so vitally important at this time, needed for the individuals that are being called upon to shine their light, so that others may too see the light of others' love and begin to rise. Helpful it is, again, not only to humankind, but to Mother Earth. She is an aspect that is very important, critical to the nature of the ascension process. For Mother Nature is also, Mother Earth also attempting to ascend, my children, and you are assisting with her and humankind. And we are grateful for this message as it comes forward, to allow for yourselves to experience the true nature of who you are as a human and spiritual soul. We are grateful for this opportunity and encourage you to go in peace and love truly, not only who you are, but others and who they are. For the acceptance of who they are is vital and vitally important. For we love all, and we encourage for you to love all as well. It is important aspect of who you are and why you are here on this plane at this time. Accept all, love all, and we appreciate this opportunity. Thank you and good day. Well, thank you guys. Thank you all, everybody, for listening. I appreciate it immensely, and hope you guys have a great day. As always, go to my website, opentooenergy.com. You are encouraged to reach out to me, to offer me any kinds of tips, thoughts, ideas, whatever you want to talk about. Reach out to me. I can help in different ways. You just got to let me know what you're thinking and what you need, and let's go from there. Anyway, thank you all so much. I love you all so much. Appreciate you all so much. Enjoy your day and find that acceptance and love that is so desperately needed right now. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.